Hey everybody, how you doing? IntoWeapons back again with ya. Got a pretty cool project that I want to share with you today. I'm going to be replacing the Tritium Vials on my M70AB2 night sights with some new Tritium Vials that I picked up off the internet. And as many of you know, the M70AB2 does come with the night sights already on them. And if you're not familiar, the night sights are really just this flip-up sight here on the back, which right now it's in the up position with the Tritium Vials available. And then if you flip it down, that would be your standard AK sight. See if I can get you guys just a little bit closer of a view on that. Again, that's the standard AK sight, and then you can flip up those night sights. Inside that night sight there is two little tritium tubes that will obviously glow for a certain amount of time, the lifespan of the Tritium Vials, which are about 12 to 15 years. And then also in the front we have the flip up front night sight. You can see there, and it just has a little spot in there for another tube. This one actually that is missing the old tube in there, so I won't have to remove that. But essentially what we're doing is replacing the old worn out tritium tubes in here, because these are pretty old parts kits, with some new ones. And like I said, I did find these Tritium Vials online. They came from Singapore, and I found them through a forum, and I'm not sure what the name of that forum was. I'll see if I can find it and put it down in the link below, but they're pretty easy to find. It ran me about $51 for 6 of them, and I did get 6 of them. You really only need 3 for one gun. The other 3 will be for my o-pap that I have, which I'll be doing a separate video on, because the o-pap did not come with the actual night sights installed. It has the cutouts for it, so you're able to buy the night sights and put them in the o-pap, which will be an additional step compared to this M70AB2. So if you're interested in that, which I'm sure many people will be since they have a lot more o-paps out there than M70AB2s, stay tuned for that information. But like I said, for this particular gun, it'll cost about $25 from the person I bought it from to replace the Tritium Vials in there. I think they're about $7 a piece plus shipping and handling. What you'll probably also need to use, and I haven't tested this yet, this is obviously going to be new for me, but this is the black 100% silicone for window, door, and siding. People had recommended using a black silicone to seal these into the spots here where the Tritium Vials need to go. I'm not really sure if silicone is a specific reason that they wanted to do that, but in any event, that's what I purchased, and we'll go ahead and see if that works or not. If it doesn't, we'll probably just go ahead and use some super glue. But the specific size of these Tritium Vials are 1.5 millimeters by 6 millimeters. And you can also get 1.55 millimeters by 5 millimeters. So this one might be just a hair too long. We're going to have to see how that turns out once I install them. So let's go ahead and set up, and we'll go ahead and get right into it. Alright guys, so our first step is going to be removing the existing Tritium Vials from the rifle. And you do want to take care when you're doing this, because the Tritium Vials are radioactive. There's a radioactive material in there. Even though the life of that radioactive material might be gone at this point, you know, it still is a radioactive material. I'm not an expert in that field, so I can't really give you the answer of how dangerous this actually is if you break it. So again, just take care. Caution when you're doing it. The front sight, fortunately on mine, was already removed. They probably did that from the original parts kit when they put this gun back together at Century. So I won't need to worry about removing that one, but if you do, I would assume that you just kind of push up from that front hole there, push up on it, because the hole to remove it is, let's see if we can get that there, is right on the top of that sight, as you can see there, just a little tiny hole. And the new one will fit right back down into that hole as well. So it should be pretty easy to take that out and replace it. Use a tweezers, a pliers, but again, just take care that you don't break the existing Tritium Vial in there. If it does break, just kind of use a toothpick or something to kind of clear it out. The rear one does still have Tritium Vials in there. Again, they're dead, so they're not going to glow or anything like that, but they do go in from the sides here. There's a hole on this side and a hole on that side, and maybe I can show you that here real quick. And what we're looking at is that hole right there. And we're really just going to use a paper clip and push these guys out. Mine don't seem like they're in there with any kind of adhesive or anything like that. So we'll go and see how easy this is going to be. I'll try to get this on camera as best as possible for you guys. But I'm going to use a paper clip. And I kind of bent it outwards. And what I'm going to do is kind of go in from this side and see if I can get it to push out from the center outwards. And actually it does look like it is coming out pretty easily there. So I'm just going to push it as far as I can there. And I'm going to use a pliers to pull it out the remainder of the way. And again, just be careful that you're not breaking this tritium tube. Hopefully yours comes out as easily as mine. There isn't any adhesive or silicone holding it in there. Let's see if I can get you a shot of this tritium tube without dropping it here. And there it is. Looks like it's just a glass tube essentially, and has that radioactive material in there. Right now it's a kind of a whitish milk color in there, and it looks almost doesn't look translucent, so you can't really see through it. So maybe the material in there hardened and, I don't know, became opaque or whatever the case is there. But that's one of them, so we'll go ahead and remove that. I'm going to stick that aside into a safe spot so I don't lose it. And then we'll go ahead and do the other one. And this one we'll go ahead and just push from right on this side. I'll see if I can get this on camera for you guys. And we're just going to go ahead and push on this one here from this side. And yep, that one came out pretty easily. And in fact, now that this one's out, you could probably just go right in from this side all the way through. Yeah, that was a lot easier. And just push it right through like that. And that second one came out. So actually, mine came out fairly easy. I'm pretty happy with that because I don't have to screw around with breaking it and trying to push everything out, all the glass and materials that this is made out of. So I know a lot of people struggle with that. So that's our removing it. Now we'll go ahead and get into installing the new ones. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start on the installation here. It's actually going to be pretty straightforward. Essentially, we're just sliding these tubes down into the holes where they belong. I did notice this front sight here, the post, that when I went to try to install this, just to kind of test out to see if it would fit, that there was a broken tritium vial inside here, just kind of shoved down into the bottom. I used a paper clip to kind of mush it a little bit and then kind of try to pull it up, and it came up in kind of like little boogers almost of you know, broken cosmoline, oils, and then the tritium vial itself. So that tritium vial was broken. Hopefully it does that's not an issue, having a broken tritium vial around. But I disposed of them. Hopefully they're just being dead, and that shouldn't be a big deal. But we're going to go ahead and take our replacement tritium vial, and we're going to go ahead and just slide it down in here. And I know this isn't going to be the easiest thing for you guys to see as I do it, because it's, you know, kind of small obviously, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory, just kind of sliding that vial down into the hole. And I'm even having trouble just getting this thing attached to my pliers here. But these things are kind of a bear to work with, being that they're so tiny. My fingers don't work very well with small things. So we'll go ahead and, there, I got it there. We're just going to slide it down, and again, take care that you're not forcing it in the event that there is some debris left in there that potentially is blocking the tritium vial from being pushed down. That could potentially cause it to break. So you definitely don't want to push it if it's not going down nice and smooth. Mine did. It seems like it's all the way seated. I'm just going to go ahead and push down a little bit further with my paper clip to fully seat it, which will give me the opportunity to cover the top of this sight with some black silicone, which again, I'm using this window, door, and siding silicone here, 100% black silicone. I put a little bit of that out on this piece of cardboard here, as you can see, and I'm going to go ahead and just take a little bit off with my paper clip, not a lot, and we're just going to go ahead and fill in this top here, and that will essentially, or supposedly, hold this in place. And you don't have to be perfect about it, but you know, just go ahead and kind of get her on there and wipe it clean. And you shouldn't be able to see the tritium vial on the top anymore. You should really just be able to see that silicone sealant holding that down into there. So we'll see if we can get a closer up view for you guys. We'll zoom in a little bit. And hopefully you guys can kind of make that out a little bit there. So we'll go ahead and move on to the rear sight. Okay, so now looking at the rear sight, we're essentially going to be doing the same thing, just taking one of our replacement tritium vials and sliding it right into the hole of the night sight of the rear leaf sight for the AK-47 here. And that hole is right there. Remember, we cleaned this out already from the old tritium vials. Make sure everything is nice and clean in there, that you don't have any obstructions within your hole there. And again, I'm just going to try to fit this in here. I know you guys can't really see that well, but there we go. I got it kind of started there. You know, with any luck, I should just be able to push it in. This one's a little bit looser than the front sight. It did seem like it went in pretty well there. I'm going to wipe out my paper clip here with the silicone and kind of push it in a little bit further. Make sure that when you seat this, that you go all the way to the hole on the front of the sight here, where it does need to show through. Make sure you get it all the way seated, but not too far where you're going all the way to the other side. And then once you have it fully seated, what we'll do is we'll use a little bit more of this black silicone. Not too much. And we'll fill in this spot here. And again, that's just to hold it in place more or less. Make sure it doesn't go anywhere. So I'm going to do a little bit of additional work on that real quick, guys, and we'll come back. Okay, so to kind of give you an idea how it works out here, as you can see that rear sight there, the one on the right hand side now has the tritium tube in it. The one on the left does not. I used silicone on this side and on the inside and just kind of seated a little bit of silicone in the ends of these holes as much as possible, and then just wiped away the excess. That should hold that tritium vial in place, or at least not let it slide back and forth or lose it completely. So hopefully that'll work out. We'll move on to the second one, which I'll do off camera since the process is pretty straightforward. And we'll come back and give you a look at the final product. Okay, so we'll go ahead and give you a picture of the final product here. Turned out really nice. The black silicone's holding it in there nicely, and I got a really nice sight picture through the night sights. The night sights do glow really nice in the dark conditions. I can't really show you that, unfortunately, but you can see that front sight's got a really lot of high visibility there. The rear sight looks pretty good. See if I can get that to focus in on itself a little bit there. There we are. And again, you can flip these down to your regular AK sights. Flip it back up. And then you have your front post sight, which again you can flip down and use your standard AK sights. And I'll see if I can even cup this a little bit so it gets some of the light conditions. I think you can probably even see that glowing a little bit there. So I have quite a bit of lights down here in this basement when I do these videos, so for it to glow on these kind of conditions is really shows, you know, what these things can do. But overall, pretty good sight picture, you know, especially if you're at night, you're going to want these glowing. For $25, I think it was a definite improvement to the rifle. Certainly can't go wrong for $25, and it really brings the authenticity back to this rifle with the, you know, the working night sights in there. Another option that you might have if you don't want to get these tritium vials and screw around with messing with those is buying some glow paint and making night sights yourself, you know, by, you know, painting the you know, current existing tritium tubes or something. I'm not really sure, but you can buy this glow paint, and I'm going to have some series coming up on some night sights that I'll be making with some of my other firearms, but it's just a phosphate, I believe, a phosphorus type of material that once you know, give it a good solid light, it'll actually glow pretty well. So, you know, that's an option as well if you really don't want to go with the tritium vials. So hope this helps somebody out. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Otherwise, as always, I appreciate watching. Until next time, take it easy.